When fuel was rationed and winters were brutal, families and soldiers alike learned to stretch every bit of heat they could find. During World War II, one of the most ingenious solutions came from something most homes already had: a simple candle mould. With a few adjustments and the right mix of materials, that humble wax casting tool became a miniature stove, capable of boiling water, heating food, and even drying damp clothing. This wasn't a fancy invention or a military secret. It was born out of pure necessity, an everyday act of survival and self-reliance that turned simple materials into life-saving heat. Wartime shortages forced people to rethink how they produced heat. When paraffin and kerosene became scarce and wood was rationed or simply too wet to burn, people needed an alternative that didn't rely on open flames or large amounts of fuel. Candle moulds, already designed to handle heat and wax, turned out to be perfect makeshift stoves. They were typically made of tin, iron, or aluminum, metals that conducted heat efficiently. By filling them with a mixture of wax, animal fat, and a wick material, people could create a dense, slow-burning heat source. The real breakthrough, however, came when someone discovered that by adjusting the wick thickness and adding a ventilation hole at the base, the candle mould could produce a steady, concentrated flame strong enough to heat a small pan or boil a tin of water. Soldiers in field camps, refugees, and even rural families began using these candle stoves for daily tasks. From warming soup to melting snow for drinking water. The secret was in how the fuel was mixed and layered. The fuel inside the World War II candle stove wasn't just ordinary candle wax. It was a layered mix designed for long, controlled burn times and consistent heat. People used what they had: animal fat, like tallow or lard, leftover candle wax, or paraffin scraps, melted together in roughly equal parts. To prevent the mixture from burning too fast, a handful of crushed charcoal or even fine soil was sometimes added. This acted as a stabilizer, absorbing the melted fuel and preventing flare-ups. The process was simple, yet oh so precise. You see, a metal mould, often just a reused tin can, or perhaps an old candle form, would be filled about 1/3 full with melted fat or wax. Now a strip of cotton cloth, or maybe even some twisted paper, would serve as the wick, placed right there vertically in the centre. As the mixture began to cool, another layer of fuel was added, and then yet another, until, well, the mould was nearly full. Once set, this layered stove candle could burn for several hours, producing quite a strong, concentrated flame about 2 inches high. Proper airflow, my friends, turned a simple candle into a reliable heat source. The real magic, if you will, of the WWII candle mould stove came from mastering airflow control. Soldiers discovered that a simple hole punched at the bottom of the tin allowed precious oxygen to feed the flame from beneath, drastically improving heat output. Some even added a second vent higher up to create a natural draft. And to use it as a stove, well, they'd place a metal grid or a piece of wire mesh on top to support a small cooking pot or tin cup. The heat from the flame, you see, was concentrated upward, making it entirely possible to boil a cup of water in under 10 minutes. Quite impressive, really, for something no larger than a coffee mug. For homesteaders or gardeners today, this principle still applies. If you want to make your own emergency heat source, you can replicate the wartime technique using a medium-sized tin can, a mix of wax and fat in a 1-to-1 ratio, and a cotton wick roughly 10 to 12 centimeters long. Make sure to punch a small air hole near the base of the can, about the size of a pencil, and place a few pebbles or bits of wire under it to allow airflow underneath when it sits on a surface. This ensures a clean, strong burn. Modern gardeners and homesteaders can still benefit from this design. While most of us don't rely on tin can stoves for daily living, this forgotten World War II method remains invaluable for off-grid setups, camping or power outages. The combination of wax and fat provides one of the most energy-dense, easily stored fuels you can make at home. It doesn't spoil, doesn't evaporate, and can be remelted endlessly. In a garden setting, these mini stoves are surprisingly useful. If you need gentle, long-lasting heat to protect seedlings from frost inside a cold frame or mini greenhouse, placing 1 or 2 of these stove candles inside, safely enclosed and ventilated, can raise temperatures by several degrees overnight. In remote homesteads, they can also serve as a source of emergency cooking heat or for sterilizing small amounts of water. You know, some gardeners even use a modified version of this design for smoking insects out of compost piles or drying herbs during damp weather. By adjusting the wax-to-fat ratio to make it burn slower, using 60% wax and 40% fat, you can produce more smoke than flame, which makes it excellent for pest deterrence or slow drying. Why this small invention mattered so much during the war. The candle mold stove wasn't just a convenience, it was a lifeline. For soldiers in frozen trenches or families surviving bombed-out homes, having a reliable smokeless heat source meant warmth, cooked food, and sometimes even life itself. Its simplicity made it possible to build anywhere with scraps and a bit of know-how. It also represented a shift in thinking that remains valuable today, self-sufficiency through understanding materials. They didn't need imported fuels or factory-made tools. They used fat from their meals, candle stubs from old lights, and tins from rations. Everything served a second purpose. That mindset, making heat, light and nourishment from what you already have, is exactly what keeps small farms and backyard operations resilient today. The Second World War candle mold stove reminds us that innovation doesn't always mean new technology. Sometimes it means rediscovering the simple chemistry of what's already around us. By blending wax and fat, controlling airflow and reusing ordinary containers, people created a powerful tool that brought light and warmth when there was little else left to burn. If you ever find yourself in need of a reliable, compact heat source, whether for emergencies, camping or frost protection in your garden, so and so wartime trick is one of the most dependable you can make. It's efficient, sustainable, and deeply rooted in history. If you found this guide useful and want to learn more forgotten skills that blend practicality with resilience, make sure to subscribe to Backyard Wisdom and share this video with others who value self-reliance and resourceful living. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones history left behind, and it's up to us to bring them back to life.